emails that bring a sense of anxiety because you recognize that during the semester break, you didn't do as much as you had planned. You went on those trips you wanted to go on, but you didn't get the dissertation done to the point that you wanted to get to. And now you're scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. And I know for many of you all at this point in the process, it can be very easy to say, you know what, I'm going to give up and move on with my life and just take the ABD and maybe a master's degree that they might give me along the way and move on. However, I want to give you some strategy and insight today on how to fuel the fire that you need to finish your dissertation. For those of y'all just tuning in, I'm Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of Done Dissertation, and we help doctoral students write and defend their dissertation in 1 year or less. So if you're a doctoral student that's looking for support and you want to get the guidance that you need to finish your dissertation and recognize that you doing it on your own has not produced the result that you want, I would urge you to apply to work with us in our Velocity Group coaching program. And in our coaching program, it's a 4-month coaching experience with the goal to help you finish either your dissertation proposal or final dissertation. So to learn more and to apply, you can scan the QR code that is here on the screen or visit www.velocitydissertation.com. And again, that website is www.velocitydissertation.com. I can't wait to get into this episode, y'all, because I do know one thing. I'm starting to see, even myself as faculty, right? We're starting to send emails back out. I'm starting to get those emails in. Hey, orientation is coming up for new students, all of these things, right? And I know for many of us, it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do with all of this? And you recognize that during the break, things haven't gone according to plan. So I want to share with you 3 strategies and insights that you can use to fuel your inner fire to finish your dissertation. So first things first, I want you to draw on the energy from your core support system of friends and family. Because what I do know, the dissertation process is not a sprint. And if you feel like you want to make it a sprint, this is not the process to do that with. I would say the dissertation is indeed a marathon. And when you think about marathon runners, right, they have thousands of folks in the crowd cheering them on when they're running. And then they have their family and friends. They may have people, strategically at certain, mile markers when, the times might get tough during the actual running of the marathon. And at times you need those people along the way to cheer you on. And so as a doctoral student, you're no different. You're on this marathon to get your PhD, and it is indeed a marathon. For some of y'all, you've been taking courses and writing this dissertation from anywhere on the low end 2 to 3 years to upwards to 10 years. So people have been with you along the way at these different mile markers. But I know at the dissertation process, it can feel like, hey, I got to speed things up. And what I want you to do is think like a marathon runner. Like, look, I just need to be consistent with my pace versus trying to sprint, burnout. Because what I do know is that when you sprint and then burn out, sometimes you don't recover from the burnout. And I want you all to consider this. Because what I do know is someone, a couple of years ago, I thought I had this crazy idea that I wanted to do a triathlon. And so I started training, doing all the training for the swimming, the running, and the biking. I got the training done. And then the race I wanted to do ended up, something that happened on that particular weekend. I couldn't do that race. So I ended up doing an aquathon instead. And so what an aquathon is essentially that you will do the swimming portion of a triathlon along with the running portion. And so I did all this training, got ready for the aquathon, and y'all, I was tired. Like that swim just took it out of me. I mean, I had practiced and had been preparing, but it just was, I was exhausted. But knowing that my wife and I had a cousin that was there with me, kind of guiding me along the way and like giving me that encouragement was really the push I needed to finish the process. Because otherwise I might have been like, you know what, I'm just going to just not complete this thing. And again, like many of you all, you started a doctoral program with an intent to finish. So just like a marathon runner, just like in the case of me trying to finish the aquathon, you literally have to have those people along the way to push you. And if you don't have that, you need to start reaching out to your family and friends right now, because it's really important. This is how you get the fuel that you need in getting that inner fire to finish your dissertation. Because what I want you to do, I want you to start thinking about your core support system and who they are. And if you're missing them, just recognize that you need to put that in place right now. So I'm going to give you a couple people to consider that you need to have part of your core support system. First is your accountability partner or partners. Those are going to be the people that keep you accountable, to push you along the journey, to make sure that what you plan to do is what you do. They're going to check in with you and make sure you hit your goals. You need those people. Those are typically doctoral students in your program, maybe outside of your program, and you have that accountability structure. But then in addition to your accountability partners, you have to have what I call your reality check partners. And those are usually your family and friends, the ones that are going to keep it real with you. So these are not the yes people. These are the people that are going to say, you know what, you need to step back from whatever you're doing because you're doing way too much right now. And so you need those people as part of your support system because they're going to keep you going during the process when you don't have the energy to write, when you don't have the energy to send another email to your chair to get another meeting, when you don't have the energy to deal with the foolishness that's probably going on in your doctoral program. And I know for many of us, that can get in the way of us finishing this process. And I don't want those things to hold you back. So as we're thinking about how to fuel your inner fire, finish your dissertation, first things first is that you have to draw energy from your core support system of friends and family. That's first and foremost. And for those of y'all who are just tuning in, I'm Dr. Mogoings, founder of Done Dissertation. And in this episode, we're talking about how to fuel your inner fire to finish your dissertation. And what I talked about in terms of developing that core support system, I do talk about that more in depth in my book, 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation. If you're interested in learning more about the book and getting a signed copy, you can scan a QR code here. It'll take you to the website to go ahead and grab a copy of the book. And again, in this book, I give you the strategies on how to work with those accountability partners, how to work with that reality check partner to get everything that you need along the way, as well as how to work with your committee on for them to give you that core support that you need to finish this process. So if you're interested in learning more, you can go ahead and scan the QR code, or you can type in www.thedonedissertation.com/book. So again, on this episode, we're going to talk all about the inner fire and fueling it to finish your dissertation. So secondly, when we're thinking about how to fuel the inner fire to finish your dissertation, I want you to constantly remind yourself of what the finish line is and what awaits after you finish your dissertation. Remember, the dissertation journey, you know this probably very well right now, does not provide instant gratification. You don't see the benefits instantly from all the energy, time, and effort that you've given to the process. And for some of us who want to see things happen very quickly, it can become very frustrating. So with that in mind, you have to constantly remind yourself of what life after the dissertation will look like. Because while you're in it, it may seem like this process will never end. But trust me, it does. And life is sweet on the other side. I promise you. But you have to do the work and give yourself the time and attention that this dissertation needs in order to get to that part of the process. So what this means in order to start thinking about life after is really considering what are your goals after you finish your doctorate. For some of you all, I know it might be, to possibly enter higher education and go become a faculty member. For some of you all, it might be, to go up on those prices on the consulting side. Maybe some of you all want to go full-time into consulting, or maybe you want to go into industry. Like all these things I want you to start thinking about, and then write those goals out and then read them every day, because I promise you at parts of this process, it will feel like it will never end. And there's nothing that will say, there's no celebration. There's nothing throughout this process. And so you have to be able to have, a really forward thinking mind about what you want after this is over. I know for me, when I was going through the process, I wanted to get into a higher paying job, because when I was finishing up my dissertation, I actually took a pay cut to get into a position to give me a certain type of experience I needed. And then I knew once I finished my doctorate, it was going to slingshot me forward. And indeed it did. As soon as I defended my dissertation and got my next job after that, I was able to double my income. And so these are some of the things that we don't think about and will, don't keep in mind when we are going through the minutia and monotony of the dissertation writing. You may feel like it's just you're going in circles, but there is life after this. And so in addition to that, you have to be able to implement some type of rewards process as you're going through the dissertation. To give some examples, I've had clients in our Velocity Group coaching program. Some have gotten themselves a car when they finished their proposal. I remember one of our clients was getting ready to defend. So shout out to you, Dr. Kat. I remember you went on vacation. Your goal was to get us chapter 3 so that you felt like you could go on vacation and feel good about having your proposal done. And so those type of things are the fuel that will, give you the energy you need to finish. You have to have some type of reward system throughout the process, because it can become feeling like you'll never finish and there's nothing on the other side. And I know for a number of y'all, because people tell me this all the time, oh, my reward is just finishing the dissertation. No, y'all, trust me on this. Create some type of reward structure throughout the process. Do not wait to the very end, because honestly, you'll be dissatisfied because you waited so long to get to the reward. Give yourself incremental rewards, even if something as simple as a spa day or buying your favorite chocolate. Something has to be done in order to give you the momentum to keep moving forward. So again, in this episode from ABD to PhD, we're talking about how to fuel your inner fire to finish your dissertation. And for those of just tuning in, this episode is sponsored by the Done Dissertation Velocity Group Coaching Program. It's a 4-month coaching experience with the goal to help you write and defend either your dissertation proposal or final dissertation over the next 4 months. So if you know you need that support and you want to be in a community of scholars where you have folks holding you accountable and you have that ability to develop that reward system, come work with us in our Velocity Group coaching program. You can click and scan the QR code that's here on the screen, or you can visit www.velocitydissertation.com to learn more about our program and to apply. And again, it's www.velocitydissertation.com. Because y'all, I know one thing, there is so much that awaits y'all as life after. Do not let your pride get in the way of getting your dissertation done. And so with that, I want to talk about one more aspect of how to fuel your inner fire to finish your dissertation. So third, when you're trying to fuel the fire to finish your dissertation, what I want you to do is to do things that make you happy and inspire you to keep going. For those of you who don't know, my background is actually in music education. So before became a college professor, I actually was a music teacher. And I went initially to college to become the next Quincy Jones. If you know anything about Quincy Jones, he wrote all the music for Michael Jackson's Thriller. I wanted to be Quincy. And so music was always an aspect of my life that I just loved to do. And when I was going through the dissertation process, and even since, that became a key component of something that brought me joy that was not directly tied to writing or doing something. And so if you're a musician, that might be picking back up your instrument. And also my background as an athlete. I was a college basketball player. And so, playing basketball when I was going through my dissertation, I was a little bit younger back then. That was something I would be able to do and play basketball to release some stress. Now I play golf. That's the thing I like to get into. You have to find whatever it is for you that gives you that joy and inspires you to keep going. You have to figure out how to incorporate that into your life, because what I know, and I talk about this more in my book, 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation, I talk about this idea of dissertation intoxication. And what ends up happening is you become so invested in the dissertation process that you exclude and kind of don't give exclude. I'm trying to think of the right word. It's not even just exclude. You really don't pay attention to anything else going on in your life. And as a result, you become so laser focused on your dissertation that you start to lack sleep. You start to like hanging out with friends. You become so isolated during this process. And what I've learned is that when you start to experience this, it actually stifles your creativity. It stifles your process, because if you're not thinking about it, writing is very much a creative process. Even if we're thinking about scientific/academic writing, it's very much a creative process. And sometimes we don't give that aspect of it the credit that it deserves. And so in order to be creative, your mind has to be free and your mind has to be open. But if you've been so focused on this project, sometimes you get tunnel vision, and it actually halts and stops your creativity process. So you have to find places to have joy, and find opportunities to even step away from the work for a day or two, not weeks, y'all, because some of y'all be doing weeks, and I know y'all do. But a day or two to step away from it, and then when you come back, you have definitely a fresh perspective on this process. And so I find this to be very important if you're trying to fuel your inner fire to finish your dissertation. So just to recap, remember, first, if you're trying to fuel your inner fire to finish your dissertation, draw on the energy from your core support system of friends and family. Second, make sure that you constantly remind yourself of what's at the finish line and what awaits you after finishing your dissertation. And then lastly, do things that make you happy and inspire you to keep going. Because I promise you, this process, as you experience, is so long, it can be so grueling. And I don't want those thoughts start creeping in about you not finishing and you not having the energy you need to finish the dissertation process in the time that you want to do. And so with that, if you're a doctoral student and you're writing your dissertation, you're like, hey, I want to learn more. I want to get more insight. I want to work with you all. I would invite you to apply to work with us in our Velocity Group coaching program. It's a 4-month coaching experience in order to help you write and defend your dissertation proposal or your final dissertation. And I know a number of y'all might be wondering, well, how does that happen in 4 months? Look, we have the whole process and strategy laid out so that we can fast track you through this journey. And so while you're still going to be running the marathon, like I talked about earlier in this episode, we're going to give you strategies and insights on how to, where you might take one step, our strategy might give you 4 steps. And so that way you can able to move faster through this process while adhering and having a great product as a result. So if you're interested in learning more and to work with us, go ahead and visit www.velocitydissertation.com, or you can pause this video, scan the QR code, it'll take you right to the site, and you can apply to work with us. But again, I want you all to really think about what is the fuel that you need to, burn so that you can finish this dissertation, because I want you all to do this meaningful work because you all have insights that will help my families and the families of others. And I know you all got into this work to change the lives of the communities, organizations, and people that you care most about. So let's make sure that we do that meaningful work in order to make that meaningful change. And so with that, I want to say thank you so much for watching this episode of From ABD to PhD Show. I'm your host, Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of Done Dissertation. Make sure that you connect with us anywhere online. If you're watching us on LinkedIn, shoot me a DM. Let me know you watched the episode. I'd love to hear from you all and talk with you. So don't ever be afraid to shoot us a message wherever you are following us on social media. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell so that you know when the next episode of From ABD to PhD is coming out. I look forward to seeing you all next week, and